Well, we are back again. We have a very, very special guest. This all started a while back. Us and our special guests were talking about TV shows, I believe, and we said we need to do a podcast about Seinfeld. And our guest is a super fan. Can we say that? Is she a super fan?
I think we can say super fan.
That's fair.
Right. So we are going to talk about 5 specific Seinfeld episodes, as we also intermix some little booze talk. Correct?
Yep. Shall I roll the intro?
Roll the intro.
Yeah, roll the intro.
Let's roll the intro. Welcome to What We Watch When We Drink, a booze dancing media podcast featuring lively discussions about movies, TV shows, and anything else that we're watching while we drink our favorite boozy libations. If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you get your podcasts. And of course, you could always find us on boozdancing.com. And please email us at boozdancing@gmail.com with any questions, comments, show suggestions, drink suggestions, anything else. Cocktail suggestions. We'll take them all.
Episode 19. We are ready to roll with our special guest, very special guest, Don Davies, the head buyer at the Specialty Drinks Group, which I believe is based in London, the UK, correct?
Well, why don't we ask her?
Let's ask her. Bring her in.
What's the name of the show?
What We Watch When We Drink.
No. The episode. What's the name of the episode?
Oh, this episode, it's very special since it's all about Seinfeld. It's called A Podcast About Nothing.
Nice. Well, let's bring in someone. Dawn!
Hey
Dawn.
guys.
Hi,
Thanks
Dawn.
for having me back.
Oh,
Thanks for coming back.
joining us.
And actually, I was just thinking we have to come up, and I'm going to give you guys time for this because I haven't quite thought about it myself. If all of the characters in Seinfeld were alcohol, either a brand or a type of alcohol, what would they be?
Dawn. Can I just say one thing? I was thinking about this exact same thing this morning.
Think about it.
See? But first I was thinking distilleries, but I don't think we should go. I just think anything.
No.
It could be anything.
I think we should go top line booze.
Yeah. Or like a drink, a cocktail, like your favorite Paul Roger. Maybe one of them's Paul Roger. I don't know.
Nah, they're not classy enough.
No, probably not. So, okay, well, we'll get to that. We'll intersperse it in the conversation.
So, Don, you're here because we talked by email, I believe, and we talked about Seinfeld-ness. And we had just done a podcast, Angela and I, a month ago or so, about the very first episode of Seinfeld. And
Correct.
We rewatched it, and we kind of dissected it. And we both felt, aside from its early beginnings, it's still kind of, in its elemental stages, it really holds up still. It's very funny, right? So why does the show hold up for you?
I think where we started this conversation, I think it was after that podcast. You guys put something on Instagram. And I was like, oh my God, I love Seinfeld. And then it just exploded from there.
Yes, I think that you are correct. That's how it started.
This has given me a great excuse to just go back and watch it. And of course, it's now available on Netflix, which is even better. So for my 40th birthday, one of my closest friends bought me the whole set on DVD. And I literally watched it back to back for it was a long time. I just loved it. And that was maybe, I won't tell you how many years ago. But, at the same time, I started watching it again recently because of Netflix. And I was like, it still makes me belly laugh. And the characters are just brilliant. Again, they're kind of characters. We probably all have one of them in our lives. Like, I'm pretty sure Mitch is Kramer. Like, Mitch was on with me last time. And, we all have those people that we recognize. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm Elaine in my own way. Like, I sometimes watch stuff that she does and I'm like, oh.
Are you a better dancer, I hope?
I was thinking the same thing.
So much better dancer. So much better dancer. Like, I don't do the chicken thing. Yeah, no.
When did it get to the UK?
When we lived in the States, it was one of my father's favorite shows, and so I used to watch it with him.
So you watched it in the 90s?
Yeah. I would definitely.
Okay.
That's when I first started watching it. I don't remember being in the UK and it ever been airing until it hit Netflix.
Oh.
I mean, it must have somewhere, but I just don't think I was ever aware of it. I don't think it was ever on like normal TV.
I agree with you. I think that the show, the joke about it being about nothing, it's really about everything, of course. And it's about everyday, like you said, annoyances. And it's about the people you run into every day. And all of those truthisms are just, they're universally true, right? Whatever situation you're in, there's always somebody annoying, or someone who creates this annoying situation endlessly in their lives and sucks you into it as well. It's just universal. So growing up here in Los Angeles in the 90s, going to lots of comedy clubs, seeing Jay Leno, seeing Letterman, seeing Seinfeld, it was weird seeing those people come to TV. And then as the way the world started to become, you became a stand-up comedian who became a sitcom character. Mm-hmm. And Jerry's was always the most unique one to me because I guess it was his stand-up act, but it was really about life. It was really about everyone's life on a daily basis. And all those things still hold true, right? You could substitute like cell phones in an episode instead of a subway and it would still be the same, right?
Yep. And I think it just never got, some of these shows kind of tail off towards the end and, they're less funny or they're less clever. I think they almost finished it perfectly because even the last episodes, still make you laugh.
It's pretty much a perfect sitcom in so many ways. Interesting rewatching these episodes because there was a couple things that kind of, I remember these little things that kind of annoyed me about them, and they still kind of annoy me about them. But
you mean about the actual episodes?
The actual episodes that we saw, a couple things. It was like casting things and, things about the set. They're minor, but it doesn't matter. It's still funny. So our first episode we're going to talk about is from season 2, right? And it's episode 3, and it's called The Jacket, right? February 6, 1991.
Wait, we're forgetting one important thing.
What's that?
One important thing. Booze.
Oh, we're getting there, my friend. We're getting there.
Oh, we are? Okay, just making sure.
We're just getting everybody ready.
First. Just making sure.
We're just going to bring everybody in. So we're talking about...
All right, you're setting the stage. I got you. All right.
The stage, right. And this is called The Jacket. And this, by the way, we should say, Dawn gave us these 5 episodes to watch. How she came up with these, I don't know. Doesn't matter. How did you come up with these 5?
Do you know what? Some of it was just like like the restaurant. Just love it, and it makes me laugh. And then others are just ones that are a little bit more left field that I kind of was like, and half of them I couldn't actually remember what they called. So I actually had to scour the internet, like Googling the most random stuff to try and figure it out. And then I was like scrolling through the Netflix thing going, is it that one? I'd read the description. I'd watch a bit of it and I'd be like, oh, that's not the one. Like I was going to put the puffy shirt one on because I really like that one as well. And then there's the limo one. But I kind of was like, but I don't even know what their names are. So I actually now, funnily enough, I probably know more of the names. Whereas before it was just like, yeah, there was the one that he was in the restaurant. But of course, that's what it's going to be called, isn't it? Because the names were not original.
Yeah. Before we jump into our episode here, we do need to have a little drink. And Dawn, we're going to let you start off with what you're drinking.
I have a new rum which has just been launched, and it's going to be launching in January. Actually, I'm holding off because I don't want to launch it in December because it's just not the right time to launch something new into the UK. And it's a rum from Thailand. Taiwan, not Thailand, Taiwan. And I'm so excited about this one because actually I beat Luca Gargano from Velier to an amazing rum distillery, which in my book is like the most exciting thing that could possibly happen to me because I really love everything that Luca does. And this distillery actually people have been talking about it. Like I'd heard lots of kind of chats about it. And I was like, how do I get hold of these people? And then one of my best mates, a guy called Dave Brum, who many of you may know from his books.
Yes.
And we are bezies, and we were chatting away. We were having a Zoom drink. And he goes, oh, I've just got these samples from this distillery Renaissance. It's absolutely amazing. I was like, oh my God, Dave. Oh my God, you must put me in touch. And so he put me in touch with Linya, who's absolutely fabulous. And she sent me all these samples and they were just all amazing. And detail that they put on the label is insane. It tells you what char levels the cask were, what yeast type they use, how many times they distill, if they distill in the lees or not, which they do, which I think is really, really interesting as well for a rum. There's so many things that they go into. So we're about to launch this cask. It's Renaissance Distillery, and it's a Fino cask, which is just immense. I'm actually going for a cheeky lunch, don't tell my boss, on Wednesday it's our Christmas lunch with Mitch, with Dave, and Ryan Chetty from Mr. Lion, and a guy called Craig Harper, who's Mr. Fevertree over here. And I'm gonna bring them all a little bottle just for them to have a little taste of, because I'm just so excited about it. And they only really sell in the local market. So I'm the first person to bring it over to Europe at all. I don't even know if it's gone into the States or not. They literally only sell to Europe, and it was to local. And so I'm beyond excited to launch this, because I think it's an absolutely banging product.
So they must have non-cask. Well, how long have they been around?
I think they've been around about 10 years almost, just under.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't start with the Fino cask. There's like non-weird finishes, I'm assuming, right?
They do loads of different things. So they have a chartreuse one. They do have things like sherry and bourbon and stuff like that. They have, they have Isla casks. What they're doing with their cask program is really, really interesting. And because it's Taiwan, what happens, I feel, because normally I'm not a big fan of finishes on whiskey, because I just don't think, or rum or anything, because you don't give enough time. You need to give minimum 6-12 months to really get something from a cask properly. But I think because of the sort of really intense humidity and the really intense heat in Taiwan, you go to Catalan and places like that, it's incredible. It's 13% to the angels. That is just giving the cask so much more and giving the rum so much more, because it's taking so much from the cask quite quickly on. So it's Asian ex bourbon first, and then it goes into sherry.
Did they have any connection with Jim Swan?
Nope.
A non-Jim Swan.
No. And he's from Cognac. Well, Cognac. He's from France originally, maybe Cognac. I can't remember if it's Cognac or not. And I think that's why he's distilling on the lees, because of that Cognac aging process or distilling process. So it's quite interesting. I want to learn more and more and more about them. They're fantastic. Follow them on I think it's Renaissance Rum on Instagram. They're all about kind of local sugar, where they're sourcing from. They're using sugarcane juice. They're using molasses. They're pretty awesome about what they're doing, and the liquid is outstanding. Dave Brum, again, massive fan of them.
What are you guys drinking?
I'm drinking some of the Epris. It's a Brazilian rum, so it's pretty good stuff.
It's from our friends at Single Cask Nation.
Oh, I love those guys. They're fabulous.
10-year first fill, 52.6%.
Mm-hmm.
And what you got?
I have a single malts of Scotland sample. It's an Orkney, 2006, 14 years old, 60.4%. Going to start off light.
And that's a super nice cask. I love that one.
Something.
If that's the light one, what's going to happen afterwards?
I don't know.
I have this thing called Black Tot.
Oh, very nice.
And it is Mitch's birthday today, so we should all raise a glass to Mitch.
Wow. Cheers to Mitch.
Happy birthday, Mitch.
Cheers to Mitch.
Brand ambassador. What's his title?
He's the global brand ambassador for...
Global brand ambassador, yes.
Well, happy birthday, Mitch.
Oh, right. Happy birthday, Mitch.
Mitchie.
Cheers all.
I'll pass it on.
Cheers.
We are hopping into that first episode that Don suggested.
We're going
Season
to put
2,
our jacket on.
Episode 3. By the way, third season, there's only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Second season.
Yeah,
12 episodes, that's it. The show hadn't taken off yet. The jacket, 14.8 million viewers, which doesn't seem like a lot. But when we get to the end of this episode, you go, whoa, that's amazing.
Wow. In modern times, that's a huge audience.
True now, yes.
Yeah, because there's so many
everything's
shows.
so splintered. Yeah, everything's so splintered. So, Don, let's talk about the jacket. What's so great about it?
I think I like it in two parts. Is that I remember going out and buying, I have this pair of suede boots that I really love, and I forgot to weather protect them with the spray and went out. And of course, because it's Britain, it rained, even though it wasn't raining when I left to go out. By the time I'd left the pub at some unearthly hour in the morning, it was pissing it down. And I pretty much ruined the shoes. So I have great empathy with Jerry on this one. And also, I think we've all had to sit in a bar with someone we just don't want in a bar in a hotel lobby when he's waiting for Elaine, for Elaine's father. And, we've all had to sit and talk to that guy who we have no conversation with. And we're just like, and I think it's the awkwardness of this one. And you almost feel like, oh, God, when you're watching it. But yeah, I just think it's that kind of the empathy I had for Jerry and his poor jacket.
The jacket shopping is funny because I think I'm going to generalize here, most men would say no to that jacket because of the lining. You wouldn't even think twice. There's no way I'm walking out with this jacket. Because you're probably not going to go get the lining switched out. No. That's an added cost that you're not going to bear, right?
Absolutely,
especially with the cost, with the unknown cost of the jacket.
That's right. That's right. We don't know. Is it? Oh, it's not $1,000, is it? Oh,
if I walk out this door, you're letting me think this was $1,000. $1,000.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my dad used to work at a clothing store in Philadelphia called Boyd's. I don't know if Boyd's is still in business or not, but it was that kind of place, where they had Canali suits and Ferragamos and, just all high-end stuff, Burberry's, all that stuff. And, you just walk in, it's like, you look at a suit, it's like, oh, it was just brutal. Absolutely brutal.
I used to work for Selfridges, and we used to get amazing staff discounts. So Selfridges, for those of you who don't know in the States, is like a kind of very high-end, sort of super premium, so Neiman Marcus, but plus department store. Think Harrods, probably everyone knows Harrods.
Is it on the same level as Harrods or
much
higher
cooler?
Than Harrods?
It's much cooler than Harrods.
Well, they did a Compass Box whiskey years back, didn't they?
That was one of mine. That was my
I think we reviewed that one. I think that was pretty good. I remember
that one. Thank you. Yeah. I remember. Now I'm going to go off piste on that one. There we go. She's off already. No, but like when I used to get Selfridges, they used to get 50% discount on certain stuff for staff members, and I used to be like, I don't spend money on clothes. I'm like jeans, a t-shirt, and the odd pantsuit kind of a girl. And I used to go there and we used to walk through, and of course you'd be all with these fashion people, and they'd be like, "Oh, Dawn, you should try on this, try on this." And I'd be like, "Okay." And then they'd be like, "Oh, it's like only £500." And I'd be like, "Oh, no." And then they'd be like, "But you get 50% discount on that. That's £250." And that sounds like a fucking bargain.
Yeah.
But it's not a bargain because it's still £250. But in your head, it's a bargain. So I ended up with all these expensive things, which I never wear. So, okay, I've got a question I'm throwing to you guys. Any clothing disasters you guys have had, or like entertaining clothing things?
Entertaining clothes. Those days are gone for me. So,
really?
Well, we're dads.
Like your mom never put you in something as a kid that was like bad.
Oh, please! If I go to my parents' house and I get the break out the 70s albums, I had we had leisure suits. I'm young enough to remember the leisure suit.
My high school graduation was a light blue, like sky blue jacket with the ruffly, thing in the middle. Yeah. But that was, but then that was normal, right? And I don't think this jacket is ever normal with the inside, with the candy stripe.
Yeah, with the candy stripe. Yeah.
No. I had a rust-colored wool leisure suit. I think it was I don't know if it was for Easter or for Christmas. I don't remember. But it was bad. And I just remember the wool when we were kids used to itch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I hated wool as a kid. And I think I don't like wool now just because of that. If it's not like a really nice...
way to go, my friend.
I'm a fleece guy. I don't wear sweaters. I can't stand sweaters. And I think it goes back to that.
I'm old enough to remember you got a jacket, 2 pairs of pants, and a reversible vest. So the vest matched each pair of pants.
That's right.
And I was styling.
That's right. Yes.
So you were in Jerry territory because you could reverse your clothes.
I could reverse my vest.
So be styling.
It was
very nice.
It was really, really something. Oh,
I don't remember. I don't remember jackets being reversible that weren't like a windbreaker kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
no, just
that
Oh
jacket.
no, I do.
that
I
he
remember like
has.
shell suits. Did
Yeah.
you have shell suits in America?
Shell
Is that
suits.
like
I don't know.
kind of, these were horrible things. In the UK was a real thing for a time. They were just really tacky, kind of horrible feeling, slimy things. Just I don't even know what they're made from. They were just disgusting.
What makes Jerry buy that jacket?
the fit when he put it on. When he put it on.
Inside doesn't bother him enough to say no.
No, but I
Because
think
when
he
puts it
genuinely
on,
liked it.
when he puts it on and looks in the mirror, he can't see the inside anymore.
Yeah,
That's
That's
true.
what it
right.
is. He only sees the outside.
and he was told he looked good in it. You know,
Yeah.
like
See, Elaine.
and sometimes you just feel something. You're like, oh, it feels good.
And even George said he looked fabulous.
It was made
Yeah.
for him.
George is that great character who he really envies Jerry's life. He wants to be Jerry in so many ways. That jacket, whether it's good or ugly or disgusting, George is going to love it. So I can't really take his opinion as too highly.
Grain of salt, right? Grain of salt.
No, but Elaine,
Take it.
because Elaine's super critical.
She is.
Like,
But she
Elaine
can
would be
see
like,
past, somehow she sees past the stripes.
if you're shopping with your girlfriend as a guy, you know, your partner in crime or whatever it is when you're shopping, someone tells you it looks good. I bought stuff because my friends say it looks good on me, and it doesn't. They were lying, the
Yeah,
bastards.
you got to get new friends. They're liars.
I
They're liars.
know. I
Liars.
think they just do it for their own entertainment, which is
Yeah,
maybe
they
what
just-
Elaine's doing.
It was like
Maybe.
daring you to wear something.
And maybe that was what Elaine was doing.
Guys don't shop with guys. Women shop with women, or they'll shop with their boyfriends or significant other, right?
Wait,
Guys don't
guys
shop
do
with
shop
guys.
with? No.
Don't. No.
No.
Right.
See, for me, shopping is like, it is, I don't hunt, but that's what it is. It's a hunt. Like, I know what I'm looking for. If I don't find it, I just keep going till I do find it. And I get a little obsessive about it. But I don't go shopping for that stuff anymore. So now it's like, oh, I like that t-shirt. I'm going to buy it because I work from home and it doesn't matter anymore. So
Let's talk about the whole meeting at the hotel, George and Jerry with Elaine's father.
The one thing I can't get over is everything they've done in Seinfeld has been almost pitch perfect with bringing in bit players. And if you could have got a more menacing, terrifying person to sit in the bar and have to go meet, like, you don't understand initially Jerry's apprehension about going to meet her father. And then once you see Lawrence Tierney, you go, okay, I get it. This guy, he eats his young. This guy's just horrible.
he
And
was fantastic.
He's just hulking, menacing figure. And everything he says is that growl where it's just it's awful.
He was in Reservoir Dogs, right? And
Yeah,
it was right around
yes,
that time.
yeah.
I just looked it up because I'm like, wasn't he the guy in Reservoir Dogs? And he was the guy in Reservoir Dogs. He's the guy
He's
that
been
set up the whole score.
He's just a menacing, like they could have anybody picked that role and they got him. And you're like, well, he was perfect. Just every single person that gets, like, this guy's perfect.
He's great at those like really short, terse answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Just like
nothing-
that.
there's
And
no-
then you have nowhere to
And
go.
he's an author.
And you're sitting there going, and you can see, both of them, like, and they're all scrunched up on the one side of the couch. And
Yeah.
then
Trying to get as
you
far away
can
from you as
see it,
possible.
Here.
Like they're trying to have a conversation, and he's like, bam, one answer.
Well, okay. Well, let me just step back for 1 second.
Where do we go?
So remember their drink order? Jerry got the cranberry juice with 2 limes.
Cranberry and then soda.
Now put yourself knowing
soda.
us, right? And we're drink centric, right? We're drinks people. If you had 2 guys that came up that were friends with your daughter and ordered those 2 drinks while you're sitting there with a scotch and soda, I'm thinking we get the same demeanor.
But to be fair, if I was Jerry or George and I was with him, I'd be like, get my ass so drunk that it doesn't
Yes.
matter what he says to me because I'm
Exactly.
still having a good time.
You order an old fashioned, you get a Manhattan. Worst case, get a gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Get a vodka tonic if you really don't like the drink.
You definitely get a man's drink, right? You get something that's
Yeah.
more than just
yeah,
a juicified something, right?
You get
What did he
bourbon
get?
in a
He
dirty
just had
glass.
scotch, lots of rocks,
just said
lots of
scotch,
ice.
yeah.
And I think it
That's
was
right.
worse by saying, like, there's 2 squeeze of limes and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
because that just sounds so, like, what the hell are you drinking?
Well, and George with his club soda, no ice, because I
I
feel
know.
like you get more if you don't get ice. Like, he just ordered rocks. What's wrong with
It was just so funny. Oh my god, it was so funny. It was
that-
great.
It's a,
So as great as he is as a character actor, as her father, as Elaine's father, So this is one of my first of these 5 episodes. This is one of my little issues I have with casting. So there's been lots of written over the years about how there's a real Jewishy element to Seinfeld. Although you don't know if the characters are Jewish or not, it's New York. You kind of assume that there is. I think there's a pretty grand assumption. Jerry Seinfeld, of course, is Jewish, and there's a Jewish bent to his humor. Elaine is kind of assumed to be Jewish too, but her father is no way. That man.
Wait, is she though? I thought she was kind of supposed to be like waspy.
I thought she was going to be Jewishy.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But her husband, her father, is not.
Right.
And we'll get to Jerry's parents later. But that kind of threw me for a loop when I'm rewatching this. Wow, that guy's like not the most not Jewish guy I've ever seen in my life. But this guy is like the ex-cop who becomes an author, or the World War II vet who becomes an author.
Right.
Yeah. The fact that he's an author is really interesting too.
Yeah.
But am I right in thinking? Okay, I'm thinking back to my days of kind of anthropology and stuff. But does Judaism not go through the matriarch, so the woman?
It does. So her mother could be Jewish.
Potentially, her mom could be Jewish, and she couldn't be.
Is her mother ever on the show?
I don't think so.
Is there a mother?
No.
I don't remember it at all.
Kramer has no parents in the show.
No,
Kramer's an enigma.
No, Kramer's mother shows up at the end.
Oh, that's right.
And you find out what Kramer's name is. Because
Cosmo.
His name is Cosmo.
Cosmo. Yeah,
Right.
And you made it like 8
mother?
seasons, and you had no idea whether Kramer was his first name or his last name.
First name or last name. Yeah. The end is just so classic with Kramer getting the jacket. I love how Kramer just sort of he just walks into everyone's lives and walks out of their lives and walks away with things. And then he gets Jerry's other jacket.
Yep.
It's 2 jackets.
Yep.
And who
doesn't think
Who gives
about
away
giving
their
the other
jackets?
jacket back to him.
No, he doesn't. Not once. It's never even a question. It's not even a question.
And when you see Kramer and you see Jerry, how is it possible that a jacket that's Jerry's could fit Kramer?
I know.
I thought the same thing.
And Kramer doesn't care. Kramer's just like, I'm going to wear him anyway. Because I'm Kramer. And it just doesn't matter.
Kramer.
Hey, by the way, Aaron, not to jump ahead, but you're sounding a lot like Jerry's dad with the whole thing with the pen. But anyway, just saying.
Oh, that's funny.
Who keeps the jacket? Funny. Give him back the jacket. You took the other jacket.
So there were 2 things in this that you see for going through the whole series. He calls him an idiot. He calls George an idiot. And George is like, who are you, Bud Abbott? And they do a lot of Abbott and Costello stuff during the whole thing. Yes. And then when they're sitting on the couch and Jerry gets up to go to the bathroom, you see George grab his sleeve and Jerry just tugs away from him. And they carry that through the whole episode, all the shows too, where whenever there's some sort of thing, George is always grabbing at Jerry and Jerry's always like getting away from him as fast as he can. That's just the relationship. It's like, I'm leaving you behind.
And I think it's the genius about Seinfeld. You can go back and watch it again, and you'll notice something different every time.
All of their quirkinesses is that quirks? They're all of our quirks. Any last thoughts on that? On the jacket?
I still like the whole thing when the father talks about, we had a funny guy back when I was in Korea.
he was a bombardier.
He was a bombardier. He got riddled full of bullets or something like that. I forget. Always cracking jokes. He was great. That guy was fantastic. His voice. And I just love the last thing is when he's driving in the car and he starts singing Master of the House. And he starts singing Les Mis.
That is so funny. George has that stuck in his head the whole time.
The whole
Schumann.
time.
So wait, hold it. Is it Schumann or is it Schumann?
I don't know.
Schumann?
I don't know. The composer. They talk about Schumann had one of those things in his head, and he went crazy.
He went crazy.
It was just hysterical.
You're going to get me off on a tangent here. One of the best parts of George, he's sucked in by the power of suggestion so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The simplest things, like what Jerry says to him, now will plague him about, this is going to make him go crazy. In every episode, there's always something that George gets, the littlest thing, and then it becomes part of his being for the whole episode. It's great. Alrighty, let's move on. We're gonna move on to another episode and another drink. We're gonna move on to another season 2 episode here in a second, the Chinese restaurant. And with that, we're gonna go on.
This is my favorite.
It's a classic. It is a classic. What are we drinking now?
I don't know. I'll be back in 5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes.
It's a joke. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
How long for the table?
Is there a pause?
No pause. No pause.
Is there an intermission that we forgot about?
Nah, no intermission.
5.
There's just more drinks.
Don't want to drink.
So part of the fun part of my job is with Secundan, we pick casks from various distilleries. And I might actually take 2 of these in one, which might throw this completely because it makes sense to talk about them together. So Kilchoman's one of our favorite distilleries. I think they're doing an amazing job. And I can't remember what it was. I think it was probably on some Instagram or on some newsletter or something that they sent out. It mentioned that they were playing around with mezcal and tequila finishes on their whiskeys. And Secundan and I were like, no, we don't like finishes particularly, either of us. I love mezcal. I love tequila. I was like, I can kind of maybe see it working on the mezcal because of smoke. I was like, how the hell is it going to work with the tequila? So we pulled in some cask samples, a mezcal finish and a tequila finish. And it was absolutely hysterical because I tried them first and I went upstairs. And I just said, Secundan, I just had a smile on my face. I was like, I think you need to try these. And he was like, what's she up to? And then I gave it to him. He's like, these aren't the finishes, are they? I was like, these are the fucking finishes. Yes, they are. These are freaking awesome. And it was amazing. So like these 2, we're still trying to figure out when they're going to launch because Kilchoman are wonderful and I love them, but they don't often give you a direct answer. So I'm not 100% sure when these are going to launch, hopefully sometime next year. But they're both from Kilchoman. One is mezcal finish, and this one is really and it does work when you think about it. Kilchoman has this beautiful core fruit to it. It's one of the things I love about them. And just that little, of course, it's got peat. So you've got a smokiness, but it's a sweet smoke. And if you think about a lot of mezcals, they also have this amazing sweet smoke to them when they have, certain types. So some are more fruity, some are more cheesy, some are more rubbery. But, when you get a really good, lovely, smoky one, it just seemed to work so well. And I think it's because you weren't trying to put it with something delicate, trying to put something too heavy. It was just the perfect balance. And I don't know if every distillery could do it. I've tasted the Dewar's mezcal finish, and I actually think they've done a credible job with it as well. But this just sang, and it was so, so, so good. And then the tequila finish actually was the one I was least confident about because I thought, you've got this greenness to tequila. But actually, when I think about Kilchoman, they also have this lovely freshness to it. And it just added this layer into it. And it was so fascinating. So I'm super excited for these 2 to launch.
What are you guys drinking?
I got my weird finish. I got some of the M&H pomegranate finish.
Oh, love that. Love that. Good stuff.
I've just got some of their Dead Sea cask.
I have a little sample here behind me.
Similar to the Taiwan comment you made about the humidity and the climate and how they super age.
Yep.
This is only 3 years old. This is really, really good for 3-year-old whiskey. And it's 60.3. So they're not messing around with the bottle either.
Whiskey with a 6, baby. So. With a 6.
Ooh, like it.
Ange, what you got?
I got another single malt of Scotland. This is a Glenburgie 21, 55.2. I can't drive 55, but I sure can drink 55. That's all I'm saying.
And I've got the Loch Gorm from 2016.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice.
Nice choices, gents.
The Chinese Restaurant, episode 11 in season 2, May 23rd, 1991. 16.8 million viewers for those keeping score at home. This is such a fun episode.
I'll say the same thing I said for the last one. They could have got anybody to be Maitre D. They went and they got James Hong, a renowned Asian actor who was one of Charlie Chan's sons, and he's Poe's father. The guy's had like a 70-year career.
Wait, don't forget, he was in Chinatown.
He's been in everything. He's got 447 acting credits. They could have picked anybody to be that role, but they went and they got a really like an actual real actor, which was great.
And we've all been there. We've all gone into a restaurant and thought, you know what? And this is the reason I don't queue for restaurants. Unless you can give me a pager and I can go to a pub and have a drink, I don't queue. And I've been that maitre d'. I used to work in restaurants. I've been that maitre d' that says, no, I know, it's going to be another 10 minutes when I know it's blatantly not going to be 10 minutes. And then one of my regulars will come in. I'll be like, yeah, 5 minutes.
Come right in. I don't know that that's a thing so much anymore now. You get your reservations on whatever app, Open Table, whatever. You just walk right in at your selected time and you get your table. Waiting in line queue I don't know. I don't do it anymore. I can't remember the last time I waited in line, but I do remember those days with my family or whoever, or my parents, and oh my God, just waiting and waiting. Why are we waiting and waiting and waiting?
What's the longest you ever waited for a table?
I've waited for tables because they've been late on the turn.
I'm going to say like an hour. I've probably waited.
I don't know.
I think we waited like an hour and a half once. We went to like an Outback Steakhouse, but you know what? It was okay. They had like a front porch, and it was a total downpour, and you could sit on the front porch, and they brought you like a couple snacks, and they brought you some lemonade, and we just kind of hung out. It was a Saturday night.
Okay.
No kids. We had nothing better to do, so we just kind of hung out and did that. It was great.
And the Outback was spectacular because they'd always give you the minutes. So you'd walk out and you'd say it's going to be 112 minutes. Wait a minute. That's almost two. Wait, I'm waiting 2 hours. 112 minutes. It's insane.
Oh, that's so funny.
You quickly doing the math.
Depends.
Wait, take my name off that list.
It just
2
depends. If
years
you could wait
ago.
at the bar and have some drinks, hey, what the hell?
Maybe 3 years ago, we were supposed to go down to my cousin's house in San Diego for Thanksgiving. And it was this horrible, horrible, amazing rainstorm here over a few days here in Los Angeles or California. And it was undrivable. We couldn't go. So we said, we're going to stay home. But then we had no place to go for dinner. We didn't know where to go out for dinner. We had no plans. We had no like turkey at home. What do we do? And I drove around during the day thinking I'll find a place that's open. And I just scoured the local area, nothing. And ultimately we found this kind of a chain Korean barbecue place, not far from home. And we went there and we waited like an hour and a half because we had no other options for dinner. And I do remember this because that was the same night. This is Black Friday Eve that Glencairn was selling black Glencairn glasses.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So 4:00 that day, which was 8:00 in the UK, that's when they went on sale. And their website basically crashed. And so the rest of the day, I'm trying to get on this website because I really wanted black Glencairns. And my wife is trying to get them because she thinks she's buying me a birthday present. And we were actually at the restaurant still trying with our phones, trying to get on the website. And it was a mess. And ultimately, I did get a couple. So that was the longest. And it was cold and it was wet out. And it was just a long night. Just a long night. Waiting's no fun. The food can never be as good as the wait.
Not a chance.
So here we go. Jerry and George and Elaine are going to the movies, and they're going to go see
Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Not Plan 8. Plan 9.
Which I didn't remember that was what they were doing. I mean, they didn't go to the movies, but I didn't remember. And there's like that makes it funnier because they're going to see a truly awful movie.
But they know it's an awful movie.
Yeah, but and they're going because it's an awful movie,
and it's only going to be playing once. So they have this is it.
And this is one of the few episodes with no Kramer. It's just the three of them.
No Kramer.
Kramer never makes an appearance.
Yes.
And the $50 bet was great.
Oh my God.
Where she walks over to the table and she's talking through her teeth, and the people are like, "What'd she say? What'd she say?" And you hear Larry David for the first time in the background as one of the table guests yelling at her and telling her to go away. And
that's something I think that I totally would do. Like I would take that bet. I'd be like, yeah, I've got it.
Absolutely.
And then go to the table. I'd be like, how am I going to do it? Because it seems like something so easy to just nick a bit of food from someone's plate, distract them and then run.
That's funny.
But
Elaine's smart. Her strategy's smart.
Yeah, when she up, she'll give you $25 if you let me have an egg roll. That was great.
It's great.
I used to.
It's all like fine
stealing food. She's asking to steal the food.
I used to go to the bar with a guy who would go and ask women way out of his league for their phone number on a bet.
Brilliant.
And afterwards, you found out that's what he would do. He'd be like, "Yeah, those idiots over there, they're going to give me $50 if you give me your phone number, and just give me any numbers at all. It doesn't matter, and I'll give you. I'll buy you drinks." And he was schmoozing these girls, and you'd be like, "Wait a minute, there's something wrong here. There's just something wrong here."
Elaine kind of losing consciousness by lack of food
Yeah.
and her blood sugar dropping is so funny. Her face looks drawn after a while. You kind of get sucked into believing that she's really
But
like
have
dying.
you never
It's
been
so
hangry?
funny. Oh yes.
Have you never
of
been
course.
hangry? I get such bad hanger.
Daily.
Like I saw with Elaine, I was like,
No, that's
I was
anger,
eating.
Mike. You're
I
angry,
have been there.
not hangry.
But I could eat
Oh my
too.
god, it's like
Right. Well, Mike, you know why you're never
honestly.
hangry? Because you're always full.
Oh, my quest to be full. My quest to be full. It's never ending.
Well, we could talk about Elaine endlessly, I think, because she checks so many great boxes off, right? She's subtle, yet she's loud and boisterous. She's smart. She's funny. She's lovelorn. She's smarter than all the others, but she's not always smarter than all the others. And she can be as dumb as Costanza. She is so multi-layered.
We talked about the dancing and her dancing. I think the party episode is got to be one of my favorites for that reason, that she is as dumb as George sometimes.
Yes.
And that's the episode, you know. And when they get to the end of that episode, and like she walks down the street, and they're all dancing behind her. You know, it's just like awesome.
The episode where neither Elaine nor George have sex, and the longer they go without, the dumber she gets and the smarter he gets, and he refers to it as taking out the trash.
Yes.
He's explaining how you hit a baseball, and he's just railing with the Yankees, and she can't figure anything out. She can't put her key in her lock. Can't do anything. It's just so funny.
And then there was one I was watching today, which came after. I think it was after when the Hamptons one, and it's when George has all the luck with his job, and suddenly Elaine loses like everything. You know, she's
and Jerry's even
oh my
Jerry's
god,
even
I've become George. You know, like, genius.
Let's talk about the payphone. This is a dated thing, of course, right? Because now that would never happen. That's actually kind of odd to watch a little bit.
For folks that didn't grow up with that, yes. But for us, we know. We remember those days.
It's still weird, though. It's still weird to see.
Oh, yeah.
But I can definitely recall times where there's one phone around and I need to use it, and either it's broken, that payphone's not working, or I don't have change, or to make the call, or there's someone using it. Right, those are the three instances, or it's really gross in there, and you don't.
I was
going to
say it's really disgusting.
Have you ever been to Hollywood on a Saturday night in 1993?
No.
And someone may be living inside that phone booth.
Yeah, right. And watching George just kind of die 1,000 deaths trying to get to use that phone is so funny, and the patron using the phone totally ignores him. It is so funny, so great.
What's even greater is George is livid with the guy, and as the guy leaves the restaurant, he apologizes, and then it's all forgiven. Everyone's like, "We're in a civilized society. This is unbelievable. I can't believe." Okay, no problem. It was great.
See, it goes to prove the little things, those little niceties. That's
right.
all we need. Just those little tiny things would smooth out the bumps.
Much like George getting the phone call to the
restaurant.
Says the wrong name.
What's
Cartwright.
What was the name?
Cartwright.
And again, little inside jokes. Cartwright is from Bonanza, and James Hong was on Bonanza. He played.
Oh, was he really?
He played their cook's
Mike,
cousin.
I love the fact you have all these facts.
He was the one.
I need to sit there and watch the whole thing of Seinfeld with you, Mike.
How long would you wait for a table today?
Half an hour.
I just don't.
20, 30 minutes. But then there's the whole thing that they brought up. Like by the time you get somewhere else, you could be waiting even longer.
You got to do the math.
So yeah, exactly. It's a proximity thing. So
I just do it. I just do what Elaine should have done and just thrown a hissy fit and just go, I want my table. I'm hungry.
See, if they had a bar there, it wouldn't be so bad. But no bar, you got to sit around and talk to each other. Yeah.
And you can usually order food at the bar.
Right.
So just eat that.
That's right. But no, a Chinese restaurant usually doesn't have a bar, unfortunately.
No.
That's a good episode. That is so funny.
Yeah.
Gosh. Heck yeah. Onward and upward to our next episode and round of drinks. Don, what are you going to drink this time?
I'm really into Pisco at the moment.
Whoa, that came out of left field. Did you say Pisco?
I knew it was going to come out left field. That's why I threw it in there. And actually, I love the fact that when you guys sort of said, Dawn, what do you want to talk about? I was like, yeah, just these 3 things. But then I was like, no, but I actually want to talk about so much more. So I'll just throw these things in wherever around.
Yeah.
Pisco.
And
That's from
I'm
Peru?
super excited by Pisco. Peru and Chile. I mean,
Right.
don't just say it comes from Peru, because the Chileans get really upset with you if you say it just comes from Chile.
Right.
The Peruvians get
And the Pisco Sour, there's a bone of contention on who invented it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably like the rum sour, the rum punch, or whatever, like all these cocktails, especially ones where it's actually quite a simple ingredient using just sort of lime.
It was in New York. Some bartender in New York invented it.
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
Same guy.
But,
It was Kramer.
I'm super excited by Pisco. Yeah, it was Kramer. I'm sure Kramer would have been the kind of guy that would drink Pisco, actually.
Kramer's addition to the Pisco Sour was the 3 drops of Angostura on the top. That was his addition to the Pisco Sour.
Absolutely, but it's so good. I love
They are.
Pisco.
They are really good.
And like Pisco with just a little kind of grapefruit soda and stuff like that. Like, just it's such a nice drink. It's such a refreshing drink. So like that's like my new. I'm watching Pisco. I think Pisco is going to be the next sort of mezcal tequila.
Next big thing.
So for our guests and us, talk about what Pisco is, how it's made. Do you know?
So Pisco, it's a grape-based spirit. Think of how you make sort of grappa. So it's made on the musts normally. So what you get is you make your wine, you get these skins left, and you can actually press them further, which you wouldn't use for wine because there's too much harshness in it. And then, like anything, you ferment your wine in brackets, and then you distill it. Pisco, when it's good, is very sort of fruit driven, and they use quite different grape varieties. I love ones made from a grape variety called Torrentell, which is sort of aromatic and sort of fabulous. But yeah, they're usually actually in both Chile and Peru. They're actually made with local varietals, which aren't tend to be used for grapes for wine, purely because they're not particularly amazing. Not exported normally.
So Pisco is like something normally, like a normal person would probably throw away, but someone else said, "Hey, we could do a little more with this."
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, you have grapes, and grapes were brought over by the Spanish and the Italians over into Latin America. And, like anything like molasses, you have a byproduct, you have something, and you say, okay, what am I going to do with that? And then, of course, they had these quite kind of harsh wines that were coming from some of these grapes. And so, what do you do with something that doesn't taste particularly good? Let's just distill it and make it stronger.
Let's age it.
Is it aged? Is it ever
No,
aged?
it's a settling. Some age in kind of for a very neutral wood, just to kind of soften out.
It's got to set for a minute, and then we can drink it.
Yeah, perfect. Think of it like a grappa. Is probably the closest, or a grape eau de vie.
And some grappa is fantastic, and some grappa is not.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I guess Pisco's the same way. Some
100%. I mean, one
set.
I don't know.
You didn't set that.
No. Yeah. But the good thing is, like, there's some really great producers. So we import one called Barsol, which is just absolutely fabulous. So Barsol, I probably would be in America. If not, www.whiskeyexchange.com. Get a plug in there. Yes, I am.
Are there lots of brands? Are there many brands?
Yeah, and more coming through. We're seeing now, not a huge amount in the UK right now, but there's definitely like cachaças and like rums from Latin America. We're seeing more people coming into the market.
Everything. Everyone's looking for the next big thing, right? Especially when whiskeys and brandies and all that stuff has gotten so expensive. You want to, even rum's is starting to climb up in the ranks.
I'm going to tell you all now. Go out and buy some Talisker 18. That is all I'm saying.
Yeah, good to know. Mike, you jumping on that,
I'm
Mr. SMWS?
I do like
He's
Talisker 18.
Googling now. He's on Wine Searcher right now.
I'm looking for Barsol right now.
Is it
Barsol? Wakar is also good by Heron, like heron the bird. They're also really good. There's one from what's the name? My brain's gone dead. Go to the Whiskey Exchange. All the ones I like are on there.
Of course.
But Barsol is probably my favorite, I would say.
Ange, what you drinking?
Everyone said Kilchoman, and luckily I had a little one that was kind of lingering around here. So it's a Kilchoman Fino Sherry matured.
Ooh, nice.
Everyone said Kilchoman, so I got a bottle of Abuna because I'd rather have Abuna than Kilchoman. Cask finished. We were talking about cask finishing. Just grab some straight cask. This is their batch 52. It's 60.5%.
But it's no 38, right?
It's no 28. No
28. I'm sorry. Batch 28.
52 is good. 28 was much better.
Because Dawn's here. I'm drinking the. This is from my whiskey club, our whiskey club, the Southern California Whiskey Club. This is a Kilchoman and an 8-year-old ruby port quarter cask for our club.
Ooh, yeah,
delicious.
That's nice. That's a great color.
55.8.
And you're not a wine cask person, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
But you'll make an exception for Kilchoman?
I will make an exception. Yes. Well, I do like the Kilchoman casks. Okay, we are on to our next episode. Oh, this is a good one. The Subway.
Oh my
Season
God.
3, episode 13. Now here we're up to season 3. Remember, season 2 had 12 episodes.
Yep.
Season 3, 23 episodes. Now we're at a regular full season.
Yep, full order.
Yep.
January 8th, 1992, 16.8 million viewers. So you can see this little trend going upward a bit. The Subway. Jump on it, kids. This is like the slice of life.
I'm like a broken record. Who is the naked guy on the Subway? They could have got anybody. They could have got anybody.
Yeah.
They get Ernie Sabella. Yeah. Ernie Sabella was on Perfect Strangers, playing their boss, Mr. Twinkasetti. And he was
Strangers.
And he plays Pumbaa in The Lion King. So he's like an award-winning musical singer. He's a great actor. I mean, anybody could have played that role. They go and get a real guy.
He was fantastic.
Like Lawrence Tierney. Every single guy they get, it's just tremendous. They really go out of their way to get people who are anybody could have played that. We got to get the guy. We got to get the right guy to be in this. And they just the whole show just did a fantastic job.
All of us have been Elaine. All of us. When that tube or that metro or the subway goes down,
all shuts down,
and you're smelling the bastard next to you that hasn't put deodorant on. And you're like, gotta be somewhere. And you've planned extra time in because you know that, it's the subway or the metro or whatever. And you're like, and you're
elevator. Doesn't matter.
And the
bus.
And the lights go on and off, and there's no message from the conductor.
Tell me something.
Anything.
In the UK, it's like there's leaves on the line. You're like, how is that an issue? It's a leaf.
Here we actually have a stretch of track that if the sun is shining for too long, the heat on the rails bow the rails, and they actually will stop the train because of sunshine.
Where?
And that'll be the announcement. When you go just above Philly, there's a stretch where they'll shut down the Northeast rail line. And there's too much sun shining on the track. So you built a rail line, and you didn't anticipate sunshine. Interesting. You didn't think maybe the sun would shine at some point? No engineer came up with that one. Like, there's nothing on the track. It isn't even leaves. It's sunshine.
Even if you heard 5-10 minutes over the rail, that would be just perfect, right?
Five.
And it'd be fine.
And
you sit down, you
that maybe 20 minutes.
Anything at all. Anything at all. And when they shut the power off, they shut off the air. So then the cars get steamy because there's no longer any air conditioning going on. And you're just like, really? Open the doors at least, because that smelly guy might be you by the time you're done. You just don't know.
And that's the same on an airplane when you get stuck in inside because whatever won't do what, and you're just stuck, and they won't turn the AC on, and they can't open the windows because the windows don't open. You're just stuck, and it's horrible.
And we once got stuck on the runway for a fox on the runway.
Oh my gosh.
There was a fox on the runway.
Run off the runway?
There was a fox on the runway. I don't know. That's what they said. There's a fox on the runway. We can't move.
That's one of my favorite songs from 1973.
Fox on the runway.
On a runway.
Fox on the runway.
Is that like Band on the Run?
Yeah.
Fox on the runway?
I remember flying into Delhi and there were cows on the runway. So,
Well, I believe that.
There's about a fox.
I believe that.
No, sorry. I should
Caribbean
care about
get
the fox.
goats on the
I do
runway.
genuinely care about the fox. But surely you can get a fox off. They're quite scared.
Yeah, I'm going to think once the plane went by, it'd get a bit skittish and run.
Yeah.
Run. Gets sucked right into the exhaust.
Where the cow, on the other hand, that's not going to run. It's not going to get skittish.
No.
It's going to stare you down. My two favorite parts of this, Elaine's thing is really funny when she goes through and the woman says, I haven't talked to anybody in 35 years. I haven't talked to
5
someone.
years.
First person I talked to is the best man at a lesbian wedding. And the whole thing with Kramer, where he's got to pay like 8 parking tickets at $600. He puts all the money on one horse because he overheard. he wins, and then he's going to get attacked on the train. And at the very beginning, they go through, and George says, that guy's not blind. Don't give that guy any money. And he turns out to be the undercover cop walking on the train.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just they go full circle and tie up all the ends, and it's just amazing.
And I love the fact Jerry ended up in Coney Island.
And that was his goal from the beginning, right? He wanted to go to Coney Island.
And he takes the naked guy to Coney Island.
I mean, that's like 2 guys in a bar. They're arguing. Yes. Then they finally say, but there's hope. Or what they say at the very end when they finally like kind of have that aha moment.
They go through the whole thing and they say, but you got to like their chances. And then he says, if they win the pennant, I'll sit naked with you at the series.
I know, series.
This is just great.
But I love the fact everyone else is down the end of the train, and like Jerry, and we've all been that person that's fallen asleep as well. I actually thought they were going to do the head jerk thing because we've all been there, haven't we? Like when we sort of wake ourselves up by our head just moving, and I love it. And he's just like, naked guy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Let's talk George and his girlfriend for the day.
Oh yeah.
That's just a wacky story.
When he tries to get the apartment, he tells that story again. When
That's right.
The one guy went down on the Lusitania or something, he survived or whatever, and he goes through and he's trying to get the apartment. He tells his sad sack stories, and he's talking about how and I met a girl on the train, and she robbed me and left me handcuffed to the bed.
And you just see it coming, especially when she asks him, so you're in finance, and you're all like, George, no, this isn't what it looks like. This isn't one of those. Don't do it.
What's
George.
another $1 million?
And then she goes through and it's wild as $8 in it.
$8.
Wasted my whole morning for $8.
But that's classic George, right?
That's the lovable loser.
It's the lovable loser. It's so true. So we're kind of like about halfway through this. Has anyone given thoughts to Dawn's question and Angela's idea about which? Whoa, what's that? I can't see that.
That is me asleep on the train after a whiskey event.
There you go.
God, that's brilliant.
And Mike has probably seen that many times.
I think Mike was on the train with me.
He may have been asleep next to you.
Well, you weren't, but you might have been asleep at the bench down the way. So anyway.
So I think we could probably, give some ideas here. What kind of a drink is George?
Well, he's a little uptight.
Something bitter and abrasive.
Okay.
He's Fernet Branca.
I like an Amaro.
That's funny. I thought the same thing.
He's Fernet Branca, straight up. No ice, no mixer, nothing. Just straight Fernet Branca.
Not Fernet and Coke.
No, that's too good. That's too drinkable. That's way too drinkable. That's delicious.
That takes the edge off. You don't want to take the edge
exactly.
off.
You don't want the Coke. No, he's a Fernet Branca. What else is like really abrasive?
I was thinking like a really badly made Negroni. Love a Negroni.
Oh, that's good.
It goes bad.
What's a really bad? What's a badly made Negroni?
Yeah, well, maybe just bad ingredients, bad gin, bad vermouth.
Bottom shelf.
Everything. Like
Bottom
then
shelf.
they don't stir it enough. When they try and do like Antica Formula as a third, and you're like, why would you put Antica Formula as a third? You just need to balance that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
too sweet, right? Antica's a little too sweet.
It's just
so like beef eaters.
Intense.
There's a disheveledness to George, right? So there's a bit of a cocktail that's not made right. Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was.
So George is a bad Negroni. Is that what we're going to say?
Yeah,
sure.
I can go with that.
Or I am quite liking like an Amaro / Fernet because I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, I think because of Fernet, but the Fernet has a way. You either like it or you don't.
You either like George or you don't.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Lovable loser, right?
It's a good call.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Kramer.
All right, next.
See, Kramer, I got to go with Hennessy because that takes over a whole episode with him. Where he's drinking Hennessy.
True.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not sure that it fits him though as a character.
Something with a fizz. Then, if you're making a cocktail,
he's a Long Island iced tea. How about that?
But he's something with a fizz.
That's actually not bad.
There's a fizz involved.
Well, there's fizz. You
I'm
top it
going-
off with a
there's
Coke.
fizz.
There's a fizz involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You top it off with a
Yeah.
Coke.
I'm going fizz more for Elaine. I think, and maybe it's because I associate Kramer with Mitch so much. I'm going rum.
Yeah.
You know, like you always laugh or you always smile when he comes on.
Uh-huh.
He's
As he
sweet.
slides into every room.
Ooh, wait, Kramer?
He slides into every room. Yeah.
So
slides into the
maybe he's like a Mai Tai, or how about maybe like a brain? What's the one? What's the painkiller?
Mai
Painkiller.
Tai is not painkiller. Painkiller could work. Mai Tai.
Painkiller's
actually,
pretty
Mai
good.
Tai, I quite like the idea of Mai Tai.
He's definitely
He's a tiki drink, right?
A tiki
There's
drink,
tiki.
but in a tiki mug.
I know.
Like an
He's a
outlandish
scorpion
tiki
bowl.
mug.
He's a
He's a
scorpion
scorpion
bowl.
bowl. He can be a scorpion bowl. Yes. Maybe one with a little bit of fire going on too, and then lights up his clothing by accident.
High five. High
There you
five.
go. He's a scorpion
There
bowl.
we go.
All right,
Okay.
Elaine.
See, again, from the show, Elaine schnapps. They schnapped her.
They stopped her.
They schnapped her.
Doctor.
Yes.
It's in the
They
vault.
schnapped
They
her.
schnapped her.
I feel like she's a champagne, actually.
How about a French 75? Would she be a French 75?
Is that a bit classy?
A little too classy? Okay.
And overly fancy.
Is-
Oh,
Is that
what
you're
about an Aperol Spritz?
I was going to say a Negroni Sbagliato. How about that?
There you go.
Same thing,
What is
right?
that?
Same thing. That's Campari and champagne. Wait, it's Campari, the vermouth, and champagne instead of gin.
saying?
All right, we got to find this one out.
I'm Googling.
I think that's,
So
that's one of
Elaine is
those.
definitely some sort of spritzy kind of drink girl, right? I
Maybe.
mean, she's not totally sophisticated, but wants to be sophisticated.
Right.
She's a
She
little,
works.
in her own way, she's a little disheveled in her own way.
I'd say she was
Yeah,
Bartles
you're
and
right.
James.
It's swapping out the gin. It's swapping out
Right.
the gin for a spumante.
So it's
Yeah.
vermouth,
She's
Campari, and champagne,
Bartles
right?
James.
I'd go
Yeah.
Bartles
Or,
and James. She's just a
Prosecco.
wine spritzer.
Could be
Yeah.
a Zima. She could be a
That's
little
not
Zima.
enough. Zima. She
Well,
could be a Zima.
Zima, no, right now she'd be a hard seltzer then, right?
She'd be a hard seltzer right now.
No.
Yes.
No.
With a little
But
twist.
she's fancier than that, though.
She is
They
fancy.
don't take
She'd
it.
have it up
fancier.
in a little
It's too weak.
in a
I
champagne
feel
glass.
she's got a bit more alcohol in her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I feel
true.
like,
Yes, that's true.
you know,
No, muscle relaxers. She has muscle relaxers.
Yes.
Stella!
We're getting there.
Jumped ahead.
Don't jump ahead.
Ketamine, little
All
ketamine
right.
chaser.
What's Jerry?
I think he's a martini.
I think he's a Diet Coke.
I think Jerry is a drink everybody would drink.
Ah,
He's the
You think?
approachable guy, even Steven.
So what would
Okay.
everybody
Yeah.
drink?
I
a
don't know.
beer?
I don't know.
No, he's not a beer guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Does
don't
Jerry
know that
drink?
he's
Does
a little
Seinfeld
fancy.
drink?
A little fancier,
I
so
kind
it's
of
a
agree with Angie.
cocktail.
He doesn't feel like an alcoholic drink person.
No,
character,
he seems like
right?
he seems very like controlled.
He's controlled, right?
You know,
Very
he's
controlled.
precise.
He's a Shirley Temple.
There you go.
He's a Shirley
Maybe.
Temple.
Yes.
He's not just a soda,
Yeah.
and you put a piece of fruit in it.
You used to get the umbrella and then used to get the
Exactly.
little seahorse
Exactly.
on the
It's
little
a fancy
soupy
Coke.
thing.
Used to?
Ah,
It's,
What do you mean
it's
used
a
to?
fancy Coke.
I love them.
What is it? 7-Up with maraschino, right?
It's the pomegranate juice.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
it's,
thought it was the maraschino stuff.
No,
No, I
no.
thought you
It's
had- I'm
You're
Googling
saying-
it. Don't panic, people.
Oh, you're saying
What's
it's not
Yes. Here we go. Ginger ale, grenadine, and
Grenadine.
garnished with a
Grenadine.
maraschino cherry. A cherry.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
However,
it's
I
grenadine.
think adding a little sherry into a Shirley Temple could be quite
What's
delicious.
happening? Yeah.
That's not a kid's drink
That's
anymore.
not a kid's
My
drink.
kids
Yeah.
aren't getting that.
What
It's
was
a
the-
Shirley Temple Black, is what it is.
That's funny.
It's a Shirley Temple because she's now an
That's
ambassador. See?
It's the ambassador.
See?
What's What's the Coke one called?
I don't know.
Like a Coke float.
The non-alcoholic Coke drink you get for your kids in bars.
I think it's
Um,
called a Coke.
It's another actor's name. No. It's with grenadine and also a cherry.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Ah,
I don't know
it's
that.
an
Google,
actor.
my best friend.
I don't know that.
Coke
And it's got to be
grenadine.
true if it's on Google.
So this is
Yeah,
Jerry, right? We're still talking
Oh,
Jerry?
of course.
We're talking.
We're talking Jerry.
People
Yes.
must actually. A Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers. That's it.
Roy Rogers. I did not know this.
Yeah, that's what.
My,
That's what we
Mike,
do.
have you ever heard of that?
Never lies.
My
Yeah.
number 3 is always taking 7-Up and grenadine and making
Oh.
it Shirley Temples. He's a huge
Roy
fan.
Rogers. There you go. Look at that. Yeah, Roy Rogers.
And I
That's
fear that
funny.
later, when he's a little bit older and
Fun
through
fact.
high school, he'll be taking other things and grenadine. And drinks, but for now, he's
So we figured it
he's
out.
at Sprite.
All right, here's a bonus question on this. Newman.
Oh, Newman.
Fishke?
Newman.
Fishke. No, Newman. What would Newman drink?
Oh, Newman.
Newman.
Hello, Newman.
It's got to be something that you really don't like kombucha.
Yes.
I don't like
Kombucha.
Well, that's
Something
actually
you
good for
really
me. I don't like
like.
kombucha either.
Mm.
Yeah, something that's just like that everyone thinks you should like tolerate, but you don't. This is
Newman.
bad.
I don't know.
Sorry,
Newman's like a
kombucha
Budweiser. Newman's just like a Bud. I think he's like
Bud Light. Bud Light.
Oh,
Bud
Bud
Light.
Light.
There's nothing
Not
light about
bitter
Newman.
enough.
Wow, he's saving up the calories for dessert.
That's
Yeah.
right.
See,
It's true.
it's like the
Look at
Diet Coke model. You know, you could have the triple chocolate cake, but you drink a Diet Coke and you save the calories.
I just saw the one where Jerry delivers the mail for Newman, and Newman's trying to get to Hawaii as his transfer, and the guy calls and he says, "Oh, I didn't get it. Why didn't you get it? You were too efficient. You achieved 85%. No one in the post office has ever gotten over 50%. You ruined my chances."
I really think the post office gets a bad rap. I really do.
The actual post office?
Yeah, I think the post office
The
gets a
actual
really
post
bad rap.
office?
Yeah.
Post office is shite.
What's it cost to mail
views
a
of
letter?
our guests are not the views of Booze Dancing.
I'm talking about
What's it
the
cost to
British
mail a
post office.
first-class letter in the UK? From you to your mom, what's it cost?
My mom sent me a card the other day because, as per usual, she forgot it was my birthday, so she sent it lastminute.com. Now it's a first-class stamp, so it should have gone there next day. Did it? No, it didn't. It got there after all the second-class stamps. So, and this happens in my neighborhood quite a lot. I think we have a dodgy postman. I appreciate the work of the postal service. I think my specific postal service is shite.
Maybe
There you
your
go.
postman is Newman. Maybe he moved.
Maybe.
He might be.
You know,
could be
maybe you got the postman you
then-
always wanted.
When
Oh my
the
God.
postman never rings once.
And that's the
Never
other
ring.
thing is they always say that they've rung the doorbell to try and deliver something, and they never ring the doorbell. Even when I'm in, I know because I've been in waiting
Don't
for
you
the
have one of those-
parcel.
You need the
I
video
tell ya.
camera.
Oh, are they future
do.
sponsor of what we watch when we drink? Ring doorbell?
Sure. Ring
Future
doorbell.
sponsor.
I have one. You
I
have
have
one
one.
right now?
Postal Service,
Great.
future sponsor of.
Yes. I know when the mail gets delivered.
I'm not going to lie, the postal service may not be your new best friends. Sorry, postal service. In America, I'm sure it's highly efficient. However,
I wouldn't say
it's not
highly,
good.
but it's not bad.
It's semi-efficient.
Well, 55 cents will get your a letter anywhere in the continental United States plus Alaska and Hawaii for 55
Within
cents.
7 days or
Yeah.
less.
What's more? What
few days.
more could you want?
Yeah, I
See,
agree.
I don't mind if they promise like a 7-day turnaround. I have an issue if they say
Well, there are no
say
promises.
a 2-day
Next day.
There are no
turnaround.
guarantees.
There's
and
no
they don't
promises.
do that.
I never said they promise. I'm just saying it's usually okay. So, but anyway.
FedEx and UPS don't guarantee anything either.
So
no
okay.
matter
So
what
wait.
they
So
say.
the point is that Newman's a Bud Light.
Newman's a Bud
Yeah.
Light.
A
Sure,
Bud Light.
that's good.
The
Good,
everyman.
guys. I like it.
We are moving on to season 3, episode 3 of 23. The Pen.
Oh, take the pen. Take the pen.
We're talking about
This was
Jerry's
a good
Jerry's
segue
parents.
into Jerry's parents.
Yes,
Mm.
October 2nd, 1991, 15 million viewers. So Jerry and Elaine go to Florida. Jerry's dad is getting, he's retiring? Is that what he's retiring from his?
retiring
No.
as chairman.
But you served
Yeah.
1 year as president of the association.
That's right.
Homeowners
This is his
Association.
year
Right.
stepping off.
That's right.
And so Jerry's going to come down and do a speech. He may do his little comedy skit thing. Maybe. We don't know. So Elaine and Jerry are going to stay with Jerry's parents. The most non-Jewish parents in the world. They are not Jewish in any realm, any description of any Jewish person in the world. But that being said, they are great. Those are great character actors. Mike, I bet you got character actor information here.
The two things I take away from this one is the name. This is where they run things through. The nemesis is Jack Klompus. You don't like that name. Immediately hearing the name, you're like, ooh, Klompus, that's not good. And the guy they had play him was only around 50 years old at the time. But they did him up so he looked like he was as old or older than
Oh,
the guy
wow.
playing Jerry's dad. Where again, you could have picked anybody, and this guy went in and he sat for a role to play a senior citizen in a, Florida community, and he was neither of those things. And he was so horrible. He's just a nasty guy. But
He was fantastic.
He was a Klompus.
Yeah,
he was
fantastic.
Jack Klompus.
Yeah.
He's only 50 at this time?
He's 55.
I'm feeling pretty good.
He looked terrible for a guy who was supposed to be 55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for a guy
Wow.
in phase 2, The Pines, Del Boca Vista, he looked good.
Yeah, the phase 2 is important.
President of phase 2, not phase 1, but phase 2.
Oh, that's such a funny line.
Well, the other part of that is the fold-out bed.
Oh,
How many of us have ever been on a sleeper sofa?
I had a sleeper
And I
sofa as
have
my
to
primary
say-
sleeper.
And it is
The bar
unpleasant.
is a killer.
The bar.
Well, no, you
The
got to
bar.
lay the other way. You can't lay across the
Yes,
bar.
you gotta lay the other way.
You
Yeah.
got to lay the other way.
This is the
And I
key.
think that's why I picked this one. I don't think it was anything to do with the pen or anything
Nope.
vaguely related to that one.
Yeah.
It was the sofa bit because I was just like, oh my God, we've all been there.
Yep.
Well,
We have.
Don, if you see yourself as Elaine in any kind of way, between the hangry episode and the bad back, dying of heat, how hot is it in this room? This is the essence of Elaine's meltdown of life, right? She doesn't deal with this kind of stuff very well. Let's say not with a lot of grace.
And what's funny is here with my wife, she refused to put the heat on. So we
So
don't
you're
deal
freezing.
with the heat, we deal with the cold. So people
Yes.
walk around the house in sweatshirts and blankets because she's fine and we don't have to ever, we don't need the heat on ever. It's all good. And is 60 cold? Is that cold for everyone? Should I have it a little higher? Where in Florida, she would be the opposite. It'd be 78 down there, and we don't need to put that on. We don't. So I think it's just really funny. And I'm one of 7. So for the holidays, my grandparents would come and stay with us. And as soon as they possibly could, they would leave. And they were in their 80s, and they drive back and go back to New York and be done with us. And no one could understand why. And I'm thinking, sleeper sofa. We gave them a sleeper sofa. That might be why they went and said,
You
we're
were
outta here.
those people.
we're out of here.
My dad had one expression he always remember. He said, house guests are like fish. After 2-3 days, they start to stink.
That's right. Get rid of them.
So-
Toss them.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Old Sicilian man knows
He's not
stuff.
wrong.
He knows
He's not
things.
wrong.
I have to say, we have a new sleeper sofa in our living room from a few years ago. It's a delightful sleep. But those ones before, oh my God!
I had one for years. Horrible.
They start off that big and they sink to this big, and then you're on this metal rod and
the springs. Don't forget the springs.
The springs.
that's
Oh
bad.
my God!
And this episode has no George and no Kramer. I read the little tidbits about stuff, and they said George was so upset. Well, not George, but the man who plays George was so upset about not being in this episode, he actually threatened to quit because this was such a good episode. And he's like, "Why can't I be in this episode?"
And also, you're waiting for him to appear.
Yeah, you're waiting for
The
something.
whole way through, I was like, George, this
Yeah.
is such a George episode.
If they did the show now, there'd be a series of texts going back and forth, and you'd see them on the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
Or a FaceTime.
George would
or
have
something.
some other story going on in New York.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
And
trying to bail out Kramer from
The other
somewhere.
thing that I thought was really funny in this, if you've ever been around old people,
No.
I have. Yes, I have.
they
Never.
somehow have their own way of Instagramming, that something happens and suddenly everyone knows about it,
Yes.
and it becomes one of those things like a whisper down the lane. It comes back to you and you're
Yes.
like, how the hell does anybody know about this? And
Yeah.
the woman that they brought in as Evelyn is
Oh, she's
from the
great.
Dick Van Dyke Show. And again, where they could have picked anybody to play an old woman walking into Del Boca Vista Phase 2, they could have gone in there, and they picked her, and she was tremendous. And she was on Dick Van Dyke Show, and she's just really, really good on the show because they pick actors and actresses who are really good at what they do. They're professionals, and they're
Great
just really good at what they
supporting
do.
So
But it's
good.
just so funny how it comes around where the mother's warning everybody about the pen, or everybody's going to know, and they're like, "How is everybody going to know?" And the first thing so do you like the pen? Like,
Do you like the pen?
it's the next day. The next day, everybody knows. How did you hear about this? From this person who heard it from that person. And it's just so funny.
This is one episode where you get just a little bit of what Jerry and Elaine's relationship is or was,
Mm.
right? Jerry has to kind of explain to his parents or his mom what's happening or not happening.
Yeah.
And it's sort of weird. It's interesting because you almost, if you didn't come in at the beginning of the show, you may not think, are they going to get together at some point?
Yeah.
Are they ever going to get, like in a regular like moonlighting episode, right?
And when they do,
When are
it's
they going to get
awful.
together?
When they do, it's
Yeah.
awful. So they shouldn't get together.
Yes. And they could be sleeping in the same room, but they're not sleeping in the same room. And it's very weird. And it's just weird. The whole Florida thing is so funny because, Don, you guys must have areas in the UK where they're kind of strategically set aside for seniors to live, and they have these wonderful little places to retire to.
We have the Cotswolds.
I was going to say the Cotswolds.
Yeah,
the Cotswolds is the Florida of the UK.
Are your parents friends with Jeremy Clarkson? He apparently has got a farm down there.
My parents actually, where they live, is in a village called Kingham, and that's where the JCB man and Mrs. Dalesford, so the Bamfords live, and they're ruining the village. And like now, Jeremy Clarkson is ruining the Cotswolds. And Alex James lives down the road, and he has this big festival. So blur Alex James, and like he's ruining the Cotswolds and all these villages, and actually they're quite right because they are like quite vehement about like kind of keeping it for the locals and stuff like that. And all these like Londoners are coming down to live there now, and they're ruining the Cotswolds. So I have this for like when I meet my parents' friends. Sometimes I'm just
What's the name of the place? Yeah. Kingham Estates, is that what you said?
It's called Kingham.
Is it fit for a king?
It is apparently the place to live in the Cotswolds nowadays.
There you go.
Yes. Is the word posh? Is that the word they would use on your side of the pond?
It is. It's quite posh. It's like the Hamptons.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Well, we're going to get to that in a moment. Well, we have another cocktail in mind or drink.
Wait, are we done with the pen?
Oh, are we done with the pen?
I don't know. We didn't get to the muscle relaxers.
Yes.
Wait. My favorite line though is when Jerry tells them they're going to go scuba diving. What? Scuba diving? Why? What's so good down there that you can't see up here? I just think that's just fantastic.
So the cliches about old people, and actually a lot of Jewish old people, are so well done in this because Jewish kids are not allowed to play sports. They're not allowed to go scuba diving. It's all a waste. You don't sit in the sun unless you're covered up in like layers of towels and blankets and sunscreen. There's no point in leaving your house. That's the bottom line. And this is so perfect. It's so great. This is my life.
And actually, to be fair, when you do watch that, for those of you who listened to the first podcast we did with Mitch, Mitch had just had his AstraZeneca injection and was high as a kite. And I kind of felt like I was Jerry with Elaine.
If Mitch had said Stella a few times, I think you're right.
So we're going to move on to our last episode. And before we get onto the drink part, we want to talk to Elaine and let Elaine talk. Oh, Elaine, God. Dawn.
Oh,
my God.
That was perfect.
That was perfect, wasn't it? Yes. Dawn, about all these shows she puts on. The rum show, the cognac show, the Pisco show. Is that coming soon?
Oh, that's coming. Coming to a space near you.
Old and rare.
So these are my babies. So as well as being the head buyer for the Whiskey Exchange, I also am in charge of all the shows. And I love it because it's the time when I can get out, talk to people and kind of really kind of see human beings as opposed to screens. And like the last couple of years have been super hard because we've had to do them online, which have been amazing. And, my team are absolutely incredible. But so this year we're back full strength. We have one more virtual, which is Old and Rare, which is coming up in February. The dates aren't quite decided, but it's around the 22nd or so. And Old and Rare will do virtual. So those of you in the US that can't fly or don't want to fly, we are going to be having packs, and we do these amazing old whiskeys, and it's pretty incredible. We get some really good guests in. That's with Sakinda and Billy and Johnny and Angus, who are two kind of big geeky collectors over here. So that was always a fun one if you're really into your geeky whiskeys. And then one of my favorite shows is Cognac Show, which is happening in April. Cognac and Armagnac and Calvados for me are sort of really underloved spirits, and they kind of, and in America it's just Hennessy pretty much. In the UK, it's the big brands, but there's so many incredible small brands out there for cognac, and so it's a show that's probably sort of our hardest one to push, but it's the one that we kind of love because it's so sort of niche, but yeah, there's so much great flavor there. And then my new show is Rum Show. And this is, of course, my baby, because we all know how much I love rum. And that's happening on the last week of July. So basically the anniversary of Black Tot, it's always on that one. And we did it virtually last year, and we had some amazing talks and tastings. Dave Brum hosted it with us. Poor Dave. That man. God help him. He shouldn't be friends with me. And this is very physical, which I'm super excited about. And we'll do a virtual element as well. And then, of course, we have our big beast in October, which is Whiskey Show, which is 3,000 people in Old Billingsgate. Like, we did 30 something talks and tastings, myself, Billy and Dave this year, which was pretty wild. And we did one with Serge Valentine, Charlie McLean, Dave Brum. Me and Sekinda made the blind taste. Go on our YouTube channel and watch it. I'll make sure the guys post it, because it was one of the best tastings even if you weren't tasting the liquid. It was super funny. They are amazing human beings. And then we have Champagne Show, which is fabulous.
Are you the organizer?
My team organizes, but with me giving direction about kind of the creative side of it. I sort out a lot of the guests. Me and Sekinda work on a lot of the master classes together, and the theme. So yeah.
This is like putting on like 4 weddings a year. Or whatever.
5 now.
Right? 5 weddings a year. That's crazy.
Yeah. My team hates me.
And with a virtual content too. So is the goal now pretty much having a virtual content with each one of them component?
Yeah, we'd like to, because we think it's even if we don't have a huge as big as when we were first doing virtual and we were in lockdown. We think it's a really nice way to engage with our consumers that aren't in the UK, that can't get over. And also for those, we had some really amazing feedback from people who weren't physically able to get to the shows, who said actually it was the first time they'd really felt involved in things like this, which for me is super important, because we're all about education. We're all about kind of bringing entertainment into people's lives, not just making booze this stuffy old thing like yourselves, So I think that's super important for us to keep that virtual element, even if it's much smaller than what we've been doing, because we went big.
Well, it's also, it makes the world smaller, right? And you can get people from all over the world to witness and be a part of it, and it grows the community. It's great.
Yeah.
We had access to the whiskey show 2 years ago, I think, and it was great.
It was
so fun. And that's the first time I talked to Billy Abbott. Was in one of those little virtual rooms afterwards. And I just got Billy's book, and I feel like I know Billy a little bit now after,
Everyone should go out and buy Billy's book,
Philosophy. It's really fun.
Because Billy is an amazing writer. He is shipping to America, and we do have it on Whiskey Exchange. So,
well, we want to definitely support all those wonderful shows you're a part of and running at the Whiskey Exchange. Just awesome. It's just great. Okay, our last episode of Seinfeld, episode 21 of 22 in season 5, May of 1994, 24.5 million viewers. So now we're in the thick of Seinfeld being the best show, number one show in the country.
Critical mass. Is that what we have?
Critical mass. We're halfway through the run about, right?
Yep.
The Hamptons.
It's breathtaking.
The funniest thing to me is when George's girlfriend comes off the beach and she's topless, and Kramer says "Yo-yo ma," and Jerry says "Boutros galley," and Elaine just says "nice rack." Where if one of the guys had said "nice rack,"
yes,
nice rack,
that would have been offensive and
sex.
horrifying. Kramer somehow says one of a renowned cellist. Yes. Jerry throws out the name of the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Yes.
And Elaine is just crass with her nice rack. And
That's right.
and then the breathtaking part of that.
That's writing.
It's just so funny.
I love the shrinkage one when Elaine
Shrinkage,
comes in,
Ugh.
and like they're like, Elaine, come here.
You know about this.
They're like, you know about shrinkage, and she's like, t-shirts, clothes. What are you talking about? I'm like you. George is like, wait, oh my God, she doesn't know. And then you can see him sitting at the dinner table, building up to the fact that like, and he's stewing on it, and of course he has to say something because, like, well, this t-shirt is really tight. Just like,
and it's
when something's in the water, it shrinks. And it's just so,
like
there's
a
so many
frightened
layers
turtle
on
is
this.
Jerry's comment. It's like a frightened turtle. And then Elaine just says, "I don't know how you walk around with those things."
I know.
So the language aspect of the show is so great, right? It's not just a dialogue. It's the language and the unspoken language that goes on between the characters is just incredible because the looks, the facial expressions, the unspokenness of so many of the conversations, they know how to speak to each other without saying any words, right? Or very few words.
And less is more. That they're able to do a lot more with this. Like
and
the
also
whole
they
scene
know each
with
other.
Kramer on the beach. There's no words. But everything with Kramer is just ridiculous. He climbs into a lifeguard chair. He pulls up the bucket that has the cage that has the lobsters in it.
It's a lobster trap.
Like everything about it. He's just like, he's just a moron, basically. He's just a moron.
Who's the doctor? Who is the doctor?
Who is that guy?
He's from, isn't he the guy? He's from Better Call Saul. Isn't he the guy that runs the lawyer's office?
No, that's not him.
It's not?
Which, the one who runs the big law firm?
Yeah. That
No,
Kim
it's not
worked
the same
for?
guy. No, it's not the same guy.
Oh.
But he's been around. I can't think of his name, but it's okay.
He's good.
Yeah, he is good.
They see the baby, and Jerry says,
the baby.
There's too much chlorine in that gene pool. It's just funny.
I'm terrified of babies.
Instead, he just says too much chlorine in that gene pool. It was perfect. That was Jerry. It was just right there.
Well, and
so I'm terrified of babies, and I get that. Like, sometimes you look at them, you think, this is not attractive. I can't say this is an attractive baby.
Can I just give one personal story? When my second was born, he had I don't know if he had baby acne or something like that, and both of us just looked at each other the next day. He's like, he's not pretty. He's not very pretty, is he?
Chaloots, come on, he's a good-looking boy.
Well, 6 months later, and he's spectacular. But that first couple days, man. So, Aaron, you'll like this. So we went to I think it was Passover. Passover's in April, roughly.
Yes.
So we go to our neighbors invited us to Passover, and the one woman's father, it's 80, maybe he was his mid 80s. He goes, what's wrong with that kid? Why is he so red? Oh my God!
Thank you.
It was hysterical.
Well, of course,
we know
that's one of the great unspoken languages. You cannot criticize a baby, or a puppy or a kitten. They're all cute.
Sure
well, they're not all cute.
The thing with all the babies is every baby looks like the mother, looks like their father. They all look like Winston Churchill. Everybody all look like Winston Churchill. No, they don't look like the mother and the father yet. They look like Winston Churchill. They're shriveled up.
And we all started out that way.
They look like Winston Churchill.
And walking through the halls and catching everyone, half undressed and there's a little bit of Keystone Copishness to it. There's a little farce going on. It's a little of everything in this episode.
Know what was interesting though with Kramer when what was it, Rachel? Was that Jerry's girlfriend? When she sneaks down, she sneaks downstairs to get the lobster, and Kramer saves her.
Kramer stops her.
Yeah.
He did the same thing. Didn't he do the same thing with the Miss USA or the Miss America contestant, where he was the chaperone?
Yes.
And Jerry was trying to hook up with her?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So he's got a little bit of just trying to be like the savior and all that. And then was there also something with the Kavorka? Remember the whole thing with the Kavorka episode?
Yeah, the Kavorka.
But there's something about
the Kavorka.
You do something there?
Because there was the nun, right? He wound up having the affair with in the Kavorka?
Yes.
And did he try not to? Or
he tried
to
get rid of the Kavorka, yes.
Yeah, there was some kind of weird thing. But it's just kind of funny. Kramer's a hysterical character.
The whole thing. They're all brilliant.
We could do an entire episode of What You Watch When You Drink about Jerry's girlfriends.
Yeah.
That would be just the characters, the people that play the girlfriends and the actual girlfriends, they're all nuts.
They're real and they're spectacular.
Yes,
on all of them. I mean, except Kramer, who just never seems to really.
Never has it. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
but
we
like
could do,
all three
George's
of them,
girlfriends.
you could literally, and even like Elaine's random.
Top 5 episodes of Jerry's Girlfriends. Yes.
Like,
good. Oh, wow. Well, this has been a spectacular day. 5 episodes of Seinfeld, classic episodes with our friend Don Davies from the Whiskey Exchange, and 5 great drinks from all of us, in different permutations, and all that Don has for us from the Whiskey Exchange going forward with they don't call them trade shows, they call them
everything.
whiskey shows and events shows. We can't thank you enough, Don. This was so fun. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
I actually have to thank you guys because I got to watch so much Seinfeld, and it was research.
It was fun research. Wasn't it?
Research.
We're enablers.
Research enabling. That's us. This is us. This is what we do. Hey, Ange, where can people listen to this episode of what we watch when we drink?
Well, you could find us on all the great podcast platforms: Apple, Google, Audible, Stitcher, Spotify, and of course, you could always find us on boozdancing.com. And once again, by all means, email us at boozdancing@gmail.com with, suggestions, comments, drink suggestions, cocktail recipes, anything you want to tell us.
All right.
All right,
Dawn, guys. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, folks.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
All righty.